thoughtful ideas and suggestions for guests and topics.
Great events, programs, and documentation.
All the countries are listening.
Welcome to this week's segment of Dialogue Houston. I'm your host, Lawrence Payne. To our regular viewing audience, welcome. To those joining us perhaps for the first time here for HCC's TV Dialogue Houston, we're here now every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 a.m. and again at 6 p.m. and also on Saturday afternoons at 3 p.m. As always, at the top of the show, let me thank you very much for your calls, emails, and text messages concerning previous shows we've had here on HCC TV, but particularly your great ideas for suggestions for guests and topics and subject to be covered on upcoming segments of Dialogue Houston. For after all, this is your community affairs, public affairs show here on HCC TV, now in its 25th season, thanks to you. We have a great show planned for you today. We're going to look at the aspect of affordable housing. We've talked a lot on the show over the years, and many guests from different aspects of the need for more affordable housing here in Houston and the challenge to create that affordable housing in a city like Houston. We're very happy and pleased to have someone who can help us understand all this and how it works, none other than Ashley Allen, who's the Executive Director of the Community Land Trust here in Houston, and she'll explain exactly what that is, and also all the related pieces of the components of how all this works together. Affordable housing, something that is in great demand here in the city of Houston. We need to figure out how to do more. The Land Trust is helping to do that, and we're just glad and happy to have Ms. Ashley join us. Welcome.
Thank you
Good
for
to have
having
you
me.
here.
Thank you so much.
I've always wanted to do some more conversations about affordable housing because it really is a great need in this city, and I think you're beginning and through your organization to figure out how to make that happen more. So just give us the basics. What is the Community Land Trust?
So land trusts in general are nonprofit organizations that help to steward land to create long-term affordability. So the Houston Community Land Trust has been around for about a year. We've actually been operating fully and taking applications for our program since February. So we're very, very new to Houston.
Okay.
But land trusts have been around for over 50 years in the United States. And they started off as a way for African-American farmers in southern Georgia to be able to hold on to their land.
It was a rural thing initially, right?
Yes, and it was in the midst of the civil rights movement, and many of the farmers were being targeted for their land. And this was a way for them to come together collectively to ensure that they had and maintained their property in the midst of kind of the retaliation they were feeling because of the civil rights movement. So across the country, land trusts have been used as a tool to not only create affordability, but to protect land for various purposes. That could be environmental conservation, economic development, and of course, affordable housing, which is what we're doing here in Houston.
And whose idea was it to utilize the vehicle of the land trust, which is basically a rural model, and bring it to Houston and adapt it to the urban setting?
Okay. So there's actually quite a bit of history with land trusts here in the city of Houston.
Okay.
Communities like Third Ward and Independence Heights have talked about utilizing land trusts for many years.
Oh no, it's been discussed a lot here in Houston.
Since the early 2000s, actually, as a way to kind of preserve the culture and integrity of communities that they knew were eventually going to be prime targets for gentrification.
That word that has caused all the issues.
That has caused many issues.
Yeah.
And so ultimately, when Mayor Turner and Tom McCaslin, the head of Housing and Community Development, decided to really focus on affordable housing due to just the rapid growth of the city of Houston, they went and started kind of having conversations. Again, these ideas had been brought to the city before Mayor Turner, but never really kind of came to fruition. And so then in 2016, affordable housing became a really major issue, and they went out and started talking to experts and other CLTs around the country, utilizing Grounded Solutions Network, which is the kind of national CLT hub. And unfortunately, things got halted due to Hurricane Harvey. And so, of course, the efforts and the energy had to be placed into those efforts of recovery. But then with that came an even greater need for affordable
Yes,
housing.
yes.
And so then in 2017, kind of there was a push to start trying to put the pieces together, and into 2018. And ultimately, the CLT was able to kind of pull things together and create a board in 2018 and became an entity in September of 2018. And the first hire, my housing director, Nina Collada, was hired in November, and I came on in December. And we actually started running the program and actually accepting applications just in February of 2019. So we are very fairly new.
Good.
But we are up and running, and we've had a lot of interest in the program, and we have not been able to do what we've done so far with the sale of CLT homes without the support of our partners, which are the Houston Land Bank and, of course, the City of Houston's Housing and Community Development Department.
So let's back up for a moment and go back to the land bank. You mentioned the land. Explain the purpose and function of the land bank in relationship to the community land trust.
Yes. So the land bank is a city entity, but they're not this city. They're still a separate organization, but a city affiliated entity that is in charge of acquiring land throughout the city of Houston to bring it back into development. The lots in which they acquire, those lots have been abandoned, foreclosed on due to unpaid property taxes. Sometimes people own property from all over the world and don't remember they even own it in Houston. And so it becomes abandoned, and it becomes part of the blight of many communities. So this is the land bank's function is to acquire land and redistribute it back out to developers, to organizations that can revitalize that space. And so how they are our partner is the land that they have acquired when they were formerly the LARA program. They use those lots as sites for the new home development program, which is the Land Trust First program. The city builds the homes. They take bids from different developers around the city of Houston, and then those builders then build homes that can go for market rate, or they can go for the CLT. They can go through the CLT, which is a reduced price. And so then the land bank then gets the homes transferred back to them after the city finished building on them, and then we find buyers for those homes. So they have a real estate agent that they work with that can find buyers for the market rate, and then the CLT is responsible for finding home buyers that qualify for our program.
Is there a down payment assistance part of this program?
Yes, there is.
If you qualify.
If you qualify, yes.
Right.
Home buyers that come through the Houston Community Land Trust are supported with various forms of down payment assistance. And if you buy market rate, you can also get down payment assistance through the City of Houston's $30,000 down payment assistance program.
Remember that. That's a good start.
So if you buy it at market rate, it's $180,000, and then you get $30,000 in down payment assistance. If you buy it through the CLT, that same exact home will be about $75,000, and then you can utilize other programs. Our first home buyer was actually our first 3 buyers are utilizing the Wells Fargo LIFT program.
Oh yes, by all means. Yes. That's a great program.
Yes, and so they are able to get their already $75,000 mortgage down to even lower, and that also helps them cover closing costs again with the down payment of 3%. And some people have had money left over to be able to buy down their interest rates as well.
And let's talk about the affordable housing itself. The range of what you hear in Houston for quote unquote affordable housing, the range, the upper, even actually the middle and upper range, that's not affordable housing. Affordable housing is really a niche within a certain price point. Beyond that, you can call it affordable housing, but it's not affordable housing.
Yes, we always have a running joke where we say affordable housing, and they say the question is affordable for who?
Exactly.
And it's usually, we're thinking when we say affordable housing, unfortunately, there's usually a negative stigma that comes along with it. And that's one thing that we would like to change, is because when we're thinking about affordable housing, it's not, I lived in Chicago for a while, and I think the image is high-rise housing projects and concentrated poverty, and that's not what this program is.
This is really first-time ownership for many people. It's that first starter home.
It's a first starter home, and it's again, it's scattered sites. There isn't a concentration of lower moderate income in any particular area, but regardless of the income level, they're still homeowners. They've still gone through the process. They still have care for their homes. And so our program really, seeks to change the idea of what affordable housing looks like. And then also just create more inventory for affordable housing because, again, what we're considering affordable in the city of Houston is not really affordable for the everyday working person.
No. So when we talk about selling our homes, what's our price range for what we call affordable housing? What's our price range?
About like a little over 200,000 actually is
Okay.
technically what they say between like 212 and 230, I believe,
Okay.
is what the actual. Anything under that is technically considered affordable.
Okay.
But then to think about who can afford a $200,000 home
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
is not the population in which the Houston Community Land Trust is trying to serve. So we are looking for, to be qualified for our program, you have to be under 80% area median income. And what does that look like? That looks like for a single person about $42,000 and for a family of four about $61,000. So if you make under that, you are qualified, income qualified for our program.
I think I told you before we started taping, I used to run Habitat for Humanity, so that whole affordable housing price points, I know what we're talking about because it is a range that really people understand. Habitat houses go for probably $100,000 now, a little less, depending on where we're building, what the land costs for us to get it, et cetera, et cetera. When I was there, the average price was $80,000, so now we've had to go up a little bit, $75,000, $80,000. It's not a gift. It's sweat equity. It's not, like you said, they got to take care of the property. They got a mortgage like everybody else. You have to qualify for it. And just the change of life that the ownership of a home brings to that family who generationally have been in either in apartments, sometimes in projects, 3 or 4 generations in a project, which never was meant to be. They're meant to be short-term things. And that's the change in their life and the future generations of their children and children's children gives them a whole different perspective. It's a life-changing event.
It is. You know, from a personal standpoint, I was homeless. My family and I were homeless for over 10 years, on and off, just in a cycle of homelessness because of the rising cost. And so just thinking about the stability that could have been created and the opportunities that could have been created if we had a program like the Houston Community Land Trust.
I want to pick that up. We have to take a small pause and break. I want to pick that point up when we come back. And we're talking about affordable housing. Please stay with us and we'll be right back.
HCC. So many reasons, so little tuition. Register today at hccs.edu/now.
I learned how to cook from my grandmother in the mountains of Oaxaca. Every time I need some comfort, I just remember what she told me. HCC definitely was a turning point in my life. What those wonderful teachers and instructors taught me is priceless. I have won many awards and worked in many restaurants. HCC was the window which opened the opportunity for me. For this wonderful city, they have given me so much. I would thank you from the bottom of my heart.
They gave me Vicodin after my knee surgery. They kept prescribing it, so I kept taking it. I didn't know it would be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
HCC. So many classes, so little tuition. Register today at hccs.edu/now.
I've seen people's lives change just by attending a class at HCC.
Some of them might not have the financial means to go to a four-year university. That doesn't make them any less quote-unquote smart than the kids who go to a four-year school.
HCC is easy to get to. It's easy to apply and easy to become a part of.
It gave me so much confidence.
Once you finish your 2 years there, you can transition into a four-year university or go into the workforce.
It's affordable, it's accessible, it changes lives.
HCC. So many locations. So little tuition. Register today at hccs.edu/now.
America's veterans are on the tour of their lives. At DAV, we're on a mission to help veterans of all generations get the benefits they've earned. Help us support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
If you were with us before the break, you know we're having a fascinating conversation with Ashley Allen, who is the Executive Director of the Community Land Trust. And the Land Trust is this new entity here in the city of Houston, not new around the country, particularly in rural areas and now adopted to many urban areas, of how to have affordable housing and to do affordable housing. It offers the benefits of a land trust is home ownership, affordability, support, repair assistance, long-term stability, transparency, all those things you want in a home ownership program. And Ashley was telling us right before the break that the affordable price points of what we mean about affordable housing is important. It has to be affordable. And that definition kind of varies a little bit back and forward. But we really want to make it for those individuals in a certain bracket that really needs to get into that home for the first time and experience what we all want in America, that stability of being a homeowner.
Absolutely. And I just want to explain how we're able to provide the low rates, the low cost for our homes. So again, which for a 3-bedroom, 2 baths is about $75,000. So aside from providing long-term affordability, this is a tool used around the country to slow down the kind of the impact of gentrification. The Houston Community Land Trust, and I'm sure everyone is all for development of communities, but without displacement.
Right.
And so the way our program works is a land trust maintains ownership of the land underneath the properties that the home buyer owns. And we do this because then we're able to make sure that that property remains affordable for the long term.
Long term, yes.
A lot of affordable housing programs, they have short affordability periods, 5 years, maybe 10, which means that in 5 or 10 years, that home will then become market rate and then drive up the prices of everything else.
You lost your affordable housing.
You lost your affordable housing in the community.
Right.
So when a home buyer purchases the home, they purchase the improvements, the brand new home on top of the land, and then they lease the land from us. And when they lease the land, they get exclusive rights to that land. So that means that you can put a playground on it for your kids. You can have your barbecue. But what you're able to do is also take advantage of the low rate tax, the taxes on that property. So you're not paying full tax rates. You're paying taxes on the ground lease, which is $600 a year.
Flat rate.
Flat rate, $600 a year.
Right.
And so $600 a year, and then your mortgage, you're mortgaging about $75,000 without any type of down payment on that. It would be $75,000.
And what's the interest?
And the interest right now is about 4.3.
Can't beat that.
Ultimately, when you add in everything, so we have a maintenance fee that goes along with the homes to keep the investment up to quality. So when you add everything in, you're still looking at a mortgage of about $750 to $800 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, brand new.
Can't beat that.
And you can't beat that. And so while this may not be the right program for everyone, because some people, their goal is to make money off their home. They want to invest in it. But for the families that we serve, what's most important is affordability.
Thank you.
To make sure that they have stable housing. So when you're in an apartment, those prices go up every year. And what you're going to pay for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath apartment is definitely not going to be between $750 and $800.
No, you can't get it anymore.
And on top of that, you are allowing affordability to maintain in communities and keep the integrity and the spirit of communities that have been that have thrived in the city for so long.
That integrity of the community is important for the ongoing, for the next generations, et cetera. That's why I think the Mayor's Complete Community Program is such a great program. It looks at the historical infrastructure of the neighborhoods and communities and the intactness of what we used to have in those communities and how to replicate that again so that individuals want to not only invest and be there, but actually move back to the neighborhoods and communities in which they grew up in and their families grew up in.
And they can afford to move back.
And that's the whole point. And can afford to move back.
So our ground leases, when you sign a ground lease with the Houston Community Land Trust, you're signing a 99-year ground lease. That means that house is affordable for 99 years. So no matter what's going on, when that Starbucks pops up, when that new gym pops up, that house is still affordable 5, 10, 99 years from now.
Whatever happens around the neighborhood and the community and as far as improvements and et cetera, does not jack up your price.
But and also in reverse, CLT homes do not drive down the
No, they do
prices
not,
either,
no.
because
That's a misnomer too.
Yes, it is, because we have consultants that have worked very closely to make sure we have great relationships with the appraisal district, and so the homes are not included in comps in the areas, in the neighborhoods, so they're not going to drive down your prices. So you're able to have affordability without impacting on either side.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that $500,000 house that's going to be there, that townhome that's going to be there in 5 years, is not going to impact that CLT home. And so then that creates kind of a mixed income community that so many people in so many cities have tried to create, and they have not been able to do it successfully.
And you have to go see them. I actually took the time to drive by to look at a couple of the properties. The homes are really beautiful homes. They stand out from the neighborhood. They fit in with the neighborhood, both. And so, and as you build others around them, perhaps, and other developers build other, it's going to be what we used to know. It truly is that mixed, wonderful neighborhood that we all grew up in.
Yep. And it's starting to help create wealth for those who thought they could never do so. So you're earning 1.25% equity on that home every year.
Right.
So that's not, you can't do that in an apartment.
No, you can't.
So when you're leaving let's say you decide to sell in 10 years, you have to sell to somebody who is also income qualified. So again, making sure that those who need the homes are being able to get affordable housing. So if you don't need it anymore, pass it
So
along.
you're helping the next family.
Help the next family.
Yeah.
So you get, so in about 10 years, what the numbers look like is you'll end up with about $20,000 walking away.
Your equity in the house. So.
So that's the equity that you've earned from its appreciation on top of what you've paid down on
So that's
paid
your
down your
walkaway
mortgage.
money.
That's your walkaway money, on top of the fact that if you look at what you've saved in rent, you're actually saving even more than
It's
that.
a bargain. Any way you look at it, going in and coming out is a bargain. And so the question is, as you get more lots and build more homes and people find out, it's a question now of matching everybody together. We could do this all day because we got the land, right?
There's
a
land
lot of land.
There's a lot of land. But the prices of that land is going up fairly quickly.
But
So
I mean, even starting with the land bank, we can use those lots first. Those are already there.
They're already there.
We own those, right?
those are already there.
Right.
And not to mention, so this is the new home development program. We're working directly with the land bank in the city. However, the land trust is in a position where we can work with other entities. As you mentioned, Habitat for Humanity.
Yeah.
We can work with other CDCs, developers who are interested in doing affordable housing and mixed income housing units. So we're not just pigeonholed to what the land bank has. If other entities have properties, we can work with them
If you
too.
want to donate some land, you can donate.
And if you want to donate some land, that would be even better.
Right.
And contributing to having.
And they get the tax write-off anyway,
And
no?
you get the tax write-off, and you're contributing to the economic development of the city of Houston, because
Right.
what we can't have people continue to get displaced and pushed further and further out. We need to have people in the city limits. We need to have our workers who make this city run here in the city. And if they can't afford to live in the city, who's going to keep the city going?
We talk so much about mixed-use development. It's more than mixed use. It's to be able to have the mix of affordable housing and the other housing all in the same neighborhood and have it all blend together and look the way people want it. I know everybody's got this misconception about affordable housing. It's not what you think. It doesn't have to be that way. It never really was that way.
It was never that
and
way.
now today it really doesn't have to be.
Yep.
Because I've seen the creative and innovation of some of the designs, architectural building. It looks like, right? You wouldn't know it if you as they used to say, if you didn't know it was affordable housing, you wouldn't know it was affordable housing.
Exactly. And also, too, we have to change with the idea of what an affordable homeowner looks like.
Exactly.
Our first home
All
buyer.
those stereotypes got to go.
She's a teacher.
Yeah.
And she's also a student getting another degree in occupational therapy. She has 3 children.
Yep.
Just the most wonderful person. She's such a sweet person, and we were so happy to be able to help her and support her and her children. And she's a teacher.
Right.
These are the people that we look up to. These are the people that we, kind of peg as these.
we want qualified teachers in some of these urban schools in our hardest place areas to work with. Well, they can't afford to live in the area, then they can't afford to be there. That's why they end up in all these in the suburban school districts way out, because it's cheaper to live out there too.
And so, just thinking it's not kind of these negative stereotypes
Right.
of people who need affordable housing. It's the person that you see every day, the person teaching your kids needs affordable housing as well.
So we have a little time left. Tell us where to find you and all that good stuff.
Please, if you are interested, want to know more, if you find a way to want to help, create more affordable homes in the city of Houston, please go to our website at www.houstonclt.org.
Okay.
And that you can find all of our information, email addresses, and phone numbers to contact us. And also, we're not just going to stop at affordable housing,
Right.
because communities are more than just the homes.
Yes, they
there
are.
needs to be businesses, and there needs to be green space, and there needs to be resources. And so we can utilize the CLT for many other uses. So if you're thinking about a small business, if you're thinking about, you know, urban gardens or urban farms.
Oh, that'd be great, yeah.
We actually have a group that has reached out to us about an urban farm, and I think that's a fantastic idea, especially in many areas that are food deserts. So please, again, HoustonCLT.org, and please contact us if you want to help solve this problem that we have here in Houston.
Is there any kind of housing fair or anything coming up there where you'll be able to come and, you know, a booth set up where they can come and meet, touch, and all that good stuff?
Yes, so our next information session is July the 25th at the Shepherd Acres Home Library, and that's at 6 p.m. So you can also go to our website for any additional events. We have a couple that are in the works that we're putting together, and they will be on our website. But if you want to learn more about purchasing a home through the CLT, please come out again July 25th to the Acres Home Shepherd Library.
Okay. For those of you who know Acres Home is the Beulah Shepherd Library and Acres Homes. That's a good thing, because I think people need that kind of contact directly sometimes to kind of, okay, let me explain, just go down the little brochure, I'm gonna go down with you down step by step, and realize that you can do this. A lot of people think, well, I won't qualify, I can't do it. We won't know until we sit and have the conversation with you.
And we are a very high touch program. We don't want, even if you come to us and you find out, okay, well, my credit isn't where there needs to be, we don't turn you away. We say, okay, well, here's some organizations that we work with that we know they're fantastic, and they can help you get your credit together. So even if you're not ready right now in July, you can be ready in November,
December. We can help you qualify.
And as the homes are being built, some people are like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna miss these homes. No, you're not.
We're constantly building.
We're constantly building. So please, we encourage people, if you're not ready today, you can be ready tomorrow, you can be ready in 6 months. And our home buyer coordinator, Novella Bean, is just the most patient and supportive person, and she will walk you through the entire process. I get phone calls every day. Our housing director gets phone calls every day. We want people to feel that this process is not overwhelming, because home buying is hard enough.
Yes.
We want to make sure that we're walking people through the process and supporting them. In addition, after you buy your home, we have a stewardship program. So even after you buy, we continue to support you through that new journey, because we understand that it's not easy on the front end or the back end, but it's so worth it. And so we want to make sure that we're supporting our home buyers, through the process and after the process.
Ashley, I want to thank you. We covered it all, I think. We got it in. And we want you really to avail yourselves of it and make sure it's American dream. Everybody wants home ownership as part of the American dream. There's no reason why affordable housing and those who need affordable housing, who qualify on that end of the spectrum, cannot be part of the American dream and have their own home. This makes it a very simple process at the Community Land Trust. So the information is on your screen, so please avail yourselves of it. And we look forward to you doing that. We're going to follow up with Ashley as we go forward. We'll probably have one of the homeowners on at some point and really see how that works in process. We want to thank you for being part of Dialogue Houston this week. We look forward to you joining us in future segments of Dialogue Houston. Until then, as always, peace, power, and love.